Chapter 49 to 54. Einar's POV. It was finally the call of the Great War towards the final victory of Camelot and to slay Vortigern. After King Arthur secured Excalibur, there was nothing the opponent could do against the sword that assures victory like a miracle. Battle after battle, there was none to stand in Arthur's way and his quest to unify the whole British Isle. Soldiers were not very well equipped or the army was not resourceful, but with the elegance and benevolence that King Arthur was showing from the assuring victories, none want to quit in this voyage and make their name in history. The ray of hope could be seen very near in the name of Camelot. Every knight was eager to spit some blood in history like that. What role I was playing? I was playing the greatest role of magical support. Every knight and even sometimes King Arthur was drawing mana from me through magic jewels that I created for them. Those magic jewels not only provide them with the attack, deference, and healing buffs, but unlimited mana from me since my mana could support all of them for the whole day. Cheers ***. At the dusk, knights could be seen eating and drinking with smiles on their faces. I was also eating the feast I prepared for Knights of the Round Table along with other knights and Arturia who was only smiling for the people. Well, time to eat mango. After the meal, we were casually chatting. I was sitting with Brother Kay and Galahad who was my disciple and nephew when I decided to eat mango. Thankfully, some foreigners also came from the Eastern world and I found this sacred fruit from them. I peeled mine and offered one to Brother Kay. Want some? Nah, I am not a fan of a sweet tooth. What a stinky guy denying the king of fruits. I was about to eat mine when Tristan came with a request. Sir Einar, I think we should hear a song from you. Tristan was silent in the whole conversation, spoke to only me. Everyone including me was a little surprised since we thought of him sleeping the whole time. That's right, brother. I heard that you have great skills of a bard. It has been while we heard a song from you. Tristan was joined by Lancelot. I have to agree with Sir Lancelot here. How about it, uncle? It was silver-head guy Galahad. My sweet nephew whom I treated like a proper knight and a relative unlike what I did with Bedivere. Galahad also hated his father a little because of some tragedy with his mother, so he liked to call Lancelot a knight then father. Eh? I was confused from sudden all these requests. My singing skills are top-notch. Well, I am the jack of all trades and also the master of all since I usually spent all my experience points in upgrading skills so all of them were of rank A+++. I would also like to listen. It has been while, Einar. It was Arturia. Her genuine smile made me reluctant to their request. Well, I didn't have any problem with singing but I just like to refuse. Since our king wants, you should abide by her order, Sir Einar. It was Gawain the freaking dog. Shut the hell up, Gawain. I compelled with a cold tone and Gawain just shuddered and hid behind Arturia. He was such a loser. Well, I guess it's not a problem for me. I sighed and after putting peeled mango on the back pocket of my pants, I took out a violin that I made through magic from book storage. Yay, my beloved disciple is singing. Men, come closer. It was Merlin who cheered happily and invited other knights. I didn't know why, but I had a bad feeling whatever he did with that smile and kindness. All other knights also gather and soon the hill became a drama stage. I walked on top of the hill under the tree and began to play the theme of one of the famous songs I remember. Attack on Titan Season 2, ending theme, Yugir no Tori by Shinsei Kametekken. When started to play the first notes of this theme, all the people immediately fell silent as to just immerse themselves in the imagination and hope of happiness from this spell. They also didn't dare to move an inch to make the slightest bit of disruption. Arturia, Merlin, and other knights of the Round Table also halted all their moments and sank on precious memories before I started to recite lyrics. Song in the Birdcage. Should I sing if I sing? Sky look wind tomorrow, blow today. Morning in the bird. Spend with me. Blow tomorrow. Every single day it is next to you. Surely come in the morning one day say hello. To expand the hand to. The sight of other town. Surely not accustomed to vert alone. Come morning everyone laugh again with me. Then the song entered its last stage. All the knights could be seen swaying rhythmically and smiling. I was also somewhat recalling some of my old happy yet little memory of my past life. Then the song entered the last stage. Song in the Birdcage. Should I sing if I sing? Sky look wind tomorrow, blow today. Morning in the bird. Spend with me. Blow tomorrow. Every single day it is next to you. After slowly ending the song with soft notes, I bowed elegantly. The knights were still in a daze before they realized that song has already ended. Cheers asterisk. They burst into cheers and started to demand to continue, but I couldn't since I only remember the regular version. That was such a beautiful song. I just recalled my sweet and bitter memories with my assault. Tristan was also happy and tears could be seen on the sad poet's face. I recalled when my king first saved me from the hands of a demon king. It was Gawain. Does he think I didn't hear him? As expected of our brother. They were Brother Kay and Lancelot. Uncle, you are my ideal. My sweet nephew Galahad was also happy. I was his best role model since I am perfect at everything because of my skills. I could also see Artoria smiling and showing her gratitude and affection. She didn't need to say anything for me to understand. Well, I am jammed. I sighed and fell on my ass. Just feel something greasy burst in my ass. Splash asterisk. Aw shit, it seems like something came out. I stood and saw yellowish slimy liquid dripping from my ass. My ass is getting wet. I was talking to myself when I realized the silent atmosphere. I widened my eyes when I saw them looking at me blankly. The atmosphere is not right. They were still looking at me like I shit on my pants in front of them. Wait, why my ass is wet? And what is this? I have always eaten healthy food lately. I wiped my butt and took get some yellow liquid on my hands to see what it was. I also heard some knights who were groaning like they would throw up. Don't tell me, the mango I offered to Brother Kay. I realized what was happening. Ripe and runny. I then looked at all the knights who were trembling from witnessing the gruesome misunderstanding. Knights, listen to my explanation. It's not what it looks like. I desperately tried to explain. What the hell, Sir Einar? Have some shame. It was Gawain who threw all the food he just ate. See? I can eat it. I then licked all the yellowish liquid and showed them it was actually mango. It tastes sweet and soft, it is not what you think. Ugh, what the fuck with his brain? Eating his own shit just after such a good song. Arg, I want to throw up. Knights were in a stupor and didn't even listen to me and ran away. I desperately looked for Brother Kay and Merlin, but they were nowhere to be seen. Those fucking traitors. I knew that Merlin had seen this coming with his clairvoyance. Galahad, Brother Lancelot, listen to me. I turned to my distant relatives. Uncle, I admire you but I can't stand it. Same her brother. I think you are suffering from a curse. The father and son duo also left me deserted. Arthur, please help me explain them. This thing can be eaten. I turned towards Artoria, but she was also trembling, even Avalon rendered useless. Please, go and change your pants first, Einar, ugh. Artoria said and turned around to stop throwing up in front of other knights. Tristan was already playing his harm to divert his attention. You guys. I was devastated. Why no one wants to believe me that this thing is really edible? With tears in my eyes, I ran away from those traitors. What's wrong with loving mangoes? I will curse you all to have 1 centimeter small dicks. It was the night before the final battle of a beautiful song under the tree but ruined because of misunderstanding. Einar's POV. The time for the final moment was upon us, that was to defeat Vortigern and claim loyal Cathedral Camelot. After the invitation of proper war, Vortigern agreed to face King Arthur with his own army. The venue for the historic war was a plain field near the hill called Camlin. It was a beautiful hill followed by a grassy plain, but sadly, it would be soon painted with blood because of 2 selfish ideologies. The army of Vortigern and King Arthur could be seen standing against each other. One was led by Evil to Britons, who was also the uncle of King Arthur, and the other was the army of King Arthur, the son of Uther Pendragon, former king of Britons and British Isle. If you look in general perspective, then both armies seemed on an equal level. Army of Vortigern was well equipped and trained with foreign tactics. The army was also resourceful since the capital was near and under the guide of Vortigern. They didn't seem to hesitate to sacrifice their life for him. On the other hand, Arthur's army was not standing on equal terms. Although they were greater than the army of Vortigern in numbers, they were less resourceful, less equipped, and suffering from fatigue from continuous travel of long journeys. However, the number doesn't explain the end result. All knights of the Round Table were kings on their own. Moreover, all of them were reinforced by buffs and holy weapons in addition to the 2 greatest mages like Merlin and me. King Arthur's victory was assured even before the battle took place by the prophecy of a magus of flower and later confirmed by me. Everything looked in favor of King Arthur, however. What is this feeling? I muttered those words with slight uneasiness on my face, and upon looking at all other knights, you could see the same expressions on other knights. Even Artoria, who was now King Arthur, and Merlin were also feeling the discomfort that was coming from the other side. None of us could see Vortigern from here, but his presence was like that of a giant. We were so far, but almost all of us could feel that Vortigern was sitting on the corner of his army as if inviting us to take his head and claim victory. That was the only time where someone was able to make me feel a little bit of fear. Artoria looked at me, and I looked at her, and I knew what she wanted to tell me. Vortigern appeared to be a lot stronger than any of us knights. Even I was unable to fly towards him and confront him alone. I was not stupid enough to match my luck, but there was one thing that could assure our victory, the sword of victory itself, Excalibur. Artoria unsheathed her radiating sword and raised it in her sky. In the name of this holy sword, we shall claim victory over the evil king. Are you with me, my men? Ayo! Then charge! Ayo! Knights raised their swords, and upon hearing the war siren, both armies soon merged with each other and blood started to split. Unlike the first battle where our army was weak and needed mass destruction of sunflower to reduce the number of enemies, I didn't use it here. It was due to knights becoming more dependable on my strength without focusing much, and second was because I didn't want to deliver a massacre without the proper fight that knights deserved. Sure, if someone was evil, I don't mind chopping him into pieces without caring for such pride, but these were people who were just happened to be from the other side. They deserve some recognition, if not the mercy of being forgiven. Anyway, I also fought with knights and killed anyone who was coming on my way along with other knights of Round Table marching together. I could also see 8 feet big Vortigern smashing anyone into chunks of meat with his long halberd while his eyes glued on Artoria, whose eyes were also facing Vortigern. Not long after continuous bloodshed, we soon reached the forces protecting Vortigern. I was the first one to reach him and confront him. Clang asterisk. Sup, evil uncle? I smirked with my spear facing Vortigern's halberd. Oh ho! Look, a dwarf got here first. Well, another one was soon joining you. He also smirked and slashed his halberd to push me a little far away. He was so big that I was only half of his size, and his strength was like that of superhuman. No, he was far stronger. You fucker! What are your real intentions? I erupted when he called me a dwarf. The reason why I asked this was because he was neither afraid nor eager to kill any of us. He was not even using his full strength. Just from one measly push and I was dragged away. So the Mr. Unknown finally realized that I am not using my full strength. As expected, someone from Age of Men, you are indeed sensitive to this play. Vortigern just smiled as if smiling at someone of a friend. I gritted my teeth and in a desperate attempt to if not kill then weaken him even a little bit before Artoria arrives here, I shoot my flying spear towards him, but with one fast powerful hit, he broke the spear into pieces. I was shocked since the spear was not that weak to break that easily. How about you join my side? Wealth, women, everything you need. What do you think, my villainous line? Vortigern was still looking at Artoria while chatting with me. No thanks. Do you think I would do something like slaughtering innocent people? What? You won't? So someone from Age of Men, why do you think that these bunch of old magical people with cursed fate going to obey your way of beliefs? What do you mean by that? And I still find it hard to believe, but it seems you knew what's gonna happen to you? I was very confused by how he and Uther were acting. Just like characters from a drama, they knew what is gonna happen to them in the play. Don't you also want me dead? Answer me. Ha 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 ha, why don't you wait and see? You have already meddled with those garbage of cursed fate, take your time and see with your own eyes. He said and then blocked the sword slash delivered by Artoria. Vortigern, you evil king. Today is the day that I will clear this island with someone like you. Artoria yelled and then delivered another attack. Oh my lovely Arthur, I was so tired of waiting for your death. How about I kill you and hang your head on the top of the ruined cathedral? Vortigern, as if acting like a villain, changed his tone unlike when he was talking with me. What is happening? Why is everyone acting like puppets, knowing their cursed fate? I had no idea. Just like a spectator, I could see that happening in life, but why was there nothing I could do? I gritted my teeth as shook my head from those useless thoughts and entered fight together with Artoria against Vortigern. I used almost all of my tactics and skills, same with Artoria, but except for superficial cuts and bruises, we were unable to deliver a decisive blow. Enough! With one roar and swing of his magical halberd, all the knights including me and Artoria were pushed far away. That simple force was enough lethal to kill anyone, but thanks to magical jewels they were protected from killing blow. Huff *, tell me, Arthur, why do you want to kill someone like me when another person with my ideologies is here with you? Vortigern asked Artoria covered in blood while his finger was pointing at me. What do you mean? Einar is my most trusted friend. He is nothing like you. He is loyal to me. Artoria also replied. This idiot. Why the hell is she answering him? Can't she see that he is trying to slander me? I looked at Artoria, who was playing right into the hands of Vortigern. Arthur, stop talking with him, and let's finish him. I ordered Artoria, who also realized her mistake and nodded with Excalibur in her hand. We were about to charge at him when we felt a sudden surge of dense draconic pressure from Vortigern and saw him changing his form. Fwahahaha, you are so damn idiots that I can hardly stop myself. He burst into loud laughter and his voice echoed all around the battlefield. 2 draconic wings came out from his back and he rose in the air. I knew where this fuck cliché train was going. Trying to escape? Not on my watch. I yelled and used increase to damage his wings and stop him from escaping, but before small kunai could hit him, he again swung his charged magical halberd towards me and released a big crimson magical arc. Einar, stop. Artoria, who realized the situation much earlier than me, summoned Avalon and protected me along with other knights who came under the radar of attack. Boom *. The attack rendered like a fly against shield like Avalon, but that gave Vortigern enough time to escape. Farewell, I will soon crush all of you, Arthur and my friend Einar Sirius. His voice was heard by everyone on the pane. Stop treating me like a friend. I gritted my teeth and roared towards leaving Vortigern. It's okay, Einar. Don't take his word to your heart. It was Artoria who put her hand on my shoulder and came for my aid after seeing me angry like this. Though she was assuring me on the surface, she was instead of putting more oil on fire since Vortigern's voice was heard by everyone. If she does something like that, then it will only increase curiosity and give birth to baseless rumors. I am fine. You should worry about him since he is still on the run. I was a little annoyed, so I shook away her hand rudely in front of everyone and left the avenue. She raised her sword on claiming the victory on Camelot, but none was mattered to me. I was not happy with the way things were going. However, on that day with the victory of Camelot, a rumor started to spread which is, Einar the Mage is the friend of Vortigern and a possible traitor of Britons. Third person's POV. For individuals, could be seen with fishing rods on the riverside. They were Knights of the Round Table. Several days had passed the claiming Camelot and all of them were working hard with blood and sweat to rebuild Camelot. To give our knights some rest, by the request from most senior knights and probably strongest after King Arthur, for them Einar Sirius do lack, these 4 knights were given a day off despite reluctant to sit to relax when there was still work to do. Not only they were helped by an evil no a kind person like Einar to get a day off, but he also told them this method called fishing to relax their mind. Naturally, they agreed no they had to agree since refusing him was something they were incapable of. So here they were admiring the beauty of nature, but they still didn't get what that little mage was showing kindness like this. Not that they could question him anyway. But why they fear him like that? That they were going to discuss this and share their experience. So who is going to tell your experience when you first joined King Arthur's side? Lancelot asked. He was still trying hard to catch some fishes that could be eaten, unlike finger-sized fishes. Isn't the topic was our horrendous meeting with Little Demon? Though I am still against addressing my idea like this. Tristan objected and questioned the title of their topic. He was also praying to God to improve his luck even a little. Isn't Sir Tristan the one suggesting this title in the first place? Bedivere asked Tristan, and only one with the weakest strength but greatest luck in catching fishes among them. The title was based on the opinions of all of you about Sir Einar. Tristan retorted, defending his pride and partially because he was jealous of Bedivere who has greater luck after King Arthur and Einar. Since I was first to meet him and closest to my uncle, King Arthur, so naturally, I am going first, Gawain spoke after just catching another fish and catching up to Bedivere. Without waiting any further, he started to tell. Gawain's POV. I am the son of King Lot and Morgan Pendragon, and grandson of Uther Pendragon, the greatest king. As a prince and relative to King Uther, I was always one step ahead of my peers. Even my older brother Agravain was no match for me in terms of strength and sword that I inherited from my grandfather. And I don't know who was older between Agravain or Gawain, or Agravain was even blood-related since he was always explained as assassin employed by Morgan, so his real identity is still unknown. Here I will be using him as a child adopted by Morgan, who was older than Gawain. After I heard that another king will arise and claim this island, I was delighted to see the person with such ambition and iron heart stand against someone like Vortigern. I was also a little sad that it was not me but someone else, but set my goal that I will test such a person, and if find worthy then I will devote myself to stand like his right hand. Testing such a person was only became a pipe dream, as I was soon found disappointed when I saw a little child standing closer to such magnificent King Arthur. King Arthur was just elegant, refined, sophisticated, dignified, and majestic that every bit of this earth should bow to him at first glance, but on other hand, the half-fey little mage was the polar opposite of King Arthur. His mouth was foul, seen disrespecting others, not showing any dignity in front of royalties. Brother, what is the meaning of shit? Yes, I also want to know the meaning of eating nipples. I heard Sir Einar telling to Sir Arthur in a room when I was eavesdropping. Even my little siblings were influenced by his dirty mouth. It was unacceptable for me to see him standing beside King Arthur, so I challenged him in a duel. Einar Sirius, today I will defeat and prove to you that you are unworthy to stand beside my uncle. I exclaimed in front of the little demon who was nose-picking in such a sacred duel. He didn't even care that he was showing such manners in presence of my mother, my uncle King Arthur, and a respectable knight, Sir Kay, who was also acting as a referee. Oh yeah. I didn't know that there are also some wuxia young masters in this world. Why do you seem so eager to become a stepping stone for the main protagonist? His question was dry and tossed something disgusting on me. I don't know what this wuxia means, but it sounds annoying. Hey, don't you have even a little respect for me? Heh, nope. I was speechless by his nature. I could see Artoria and Sir Kay shaking their heads, while Mother seemed to be enjoying watching this idiot. You. I will make you lick dirt today, and eat those words of yours. Hey, if we are playing wuxia, then I also have one. A toad wants to eat the meat of a swan? Dream on. How about this? I knew that he was not taking me seriously after my mocks. Begin. The match soon started, and just when I took the first step with the sword in my hands, I heard him chanting a spell. Slip. I was unable to read his lips' movements as my face hit the ground before I knew. Heh, loser. He smirked again and tossed another dirty stuff from his nose on me. Gore, face me like a man. I screamed as got up and charged, but he dodged every attack easily. Heh, nope. Blood started to flow in my brain as I just wanted to crush his annoying smug face looking down on me. So you are not going to be serious, huh? Yeah, no. I smiled and then looked into his eyes. Guess you are not only weak, but also a coward, just like your short height, you midget. I decided to use my trump card. I heard rumors that he was actually an adult, but because of his bloodline, he was shorter and becomes annoyed if you talk about his height. However, it proved much a more adverse effect as the surrounding became silent. Birds stopped chirping and the breeze halted. King Arthur excused himself and my mother followed him as if she was afraid of the outcome of this match. Sir Kay shook his head and looked at me as if looking at me as a slave dog. It was indeed the start of my demise, as only 6 seconds I remembered was first seeing sky rolling and I end up in trash cans 10 meters away from the venue. How? And I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes, I found myself on a bed under a blanket, but all my limbs were tied. I couldn't speak as if my lips were sealed by something. Sir Einar, this candy is so sweet. Yes, Sir Einar. We are so glad that you are here. You are so kind to us and even play with us. Thank you, Sir Einar. And we admire Sir Einar the most. Aw, thank you too. I will treat you like my treasured siblings. Beside me was sitting my 2 little siblings and Sir Einar happily chatting with each other. I wanted to stop my 2 little siblings from this demon, but I was unable to say anything. What happened to our brother? Oh, he was running in halls and slipped. Your brother is such a clumsy. Einar smiled devilishly. Bad brother. First, a defeat from this fiend and then looked down on by my siblings because of lies. Okay, kids. Time to go now. Your brother needs treatment. Sir Einar then got from his seat and after a couple of lies and false comforting comments, he sent my siblings out of this room and then turned towards me. Well, it looks like someone really needs to learn a lesson how not to provoke someone who could tarnish your life. He said and put on some gloves and placed some torturing tools on the table. Fear and horror fell on my heart as I desperately tried to call guards, mother, or King Arthur, but it went in vain. What happened next couldn't be described as it was just a nightmare. After the day when I challenged someone named Einar Sirius, and it was also my first biggest mistake and second mocking Sir Einar's height, my life went from a prideful knight to a chair. Whether it was after losing a mock battle with Sir Einar that he forced on me and ended up becoming his chair. Knight of Sun, tell me your wisdom. Knight Janae chair duh. Or after failing in cooking tests that I never even wanted to try. Face between two bread slices, he asked me. What are you? An idiot sandwich. Idiot sandwich what? An idiot sandwich, Chef Gawain. Days went like this, but none was there to help me, to offer me a hand and save me from this mud of despair. My sibling and mother were already in the hands of that fiend, so they turned a blind eye to what was happening in the name of holy training. Sir Kay and Merlin were also afraid of Sir Einar, so they were out of the question. My only hope was my King Arthur, and as I was praying he was the one to come for my aid. One day, I was tied on a chair and with a small melon on my head, Sir Einar was practicing his archery with a blindfold. Struck asterisk. I was horrified since it just missed my right eye. My luck didn't click this time too. I didn't know what the target was since arrows were missing melon and my face only by a single millimeter. The door opened and my king entered like a hero. Einar, this is enough. Let Gawain go. My king. I was in tears. Who do you think you are barging in my room like that? I am the rightful king of this island. I can go whatever I want. Even in my room and me being naked? Why yes. I guess. King Arthur was so brave. Sir Einar was blinded by anger and jumped and hugged to tangle King Arthur's lungs. Not only that, but he was also rubbing his head on King Arthur's wide chest. King Arthur became red from suffocating but freed himself and delivered a massive punch and defeating Sir Einar. Although punch looks a little soft and slow, I am sure that it was because of the power of that punch that even stopped the time. He then came towards me, untied me, and offered me a helping hand that I was so eager to see. Without any need to assess his abilities, I fell on my knees and pledged my eternal loyalty. King Arthur, Gawain hereby pledge eternal loyalty to you. Please accept me as your most loyal knight. He didn't say anything and smile like a bright sun. I was so happy to serve such a great king, and we soon came out from the dungeon. It was thanks to majestic King Arthur that I was saved from that demon. Third person's POV. And after that, I only become chair when Sir Einar needed an assistant in making artifacts requested by my king. That's why I am and will always be loyal to him. Gawain ended his story with a proud smile. All other knights were speechless. Whether or not, the story was definitely telling that he was used by both of them. On that day, it was cleared why the Knight of the Sun respected, feared, Sir Einar and was so loyal to King Arthur. Third person's POV. Well, then I guess it is my turn. Bedivere said and caught another healthy fish. His luck was greatest among them if not strength. I am sure if you all have heard the saying weakness is a sin, but being cute I mean good looking is just worst if the one helping you is someone like Sir Einar. My story goes like this. Bedivere's POV. My origins came from the sister island of British Island, Ireland. My parents named me Bedivere after war god of the Celts, Bedwyr. After the climatic destruction of that island, we have to immigrate here so we end up becoming knights. Although my name suggested someone with incredible strength and charisma of war, my potential was nothing like that. I was slender-looking and somewhat girlish both with facial expressions and voice. I had great skills with the sword, but all that matters among them is the powerful force that you put behind that blade. I have little to no mana, and even if I was fast, I was no match to knights who were using mana to increase their power, so I had no chance to claim victory. I was trashed out by knights in training, mostly used as a porter for the expedition, and then being teased by both men and women in the bar. Even I sometimes cried in secret for being weak, but I never stopped in my belief and was hoping for a time to come. And that time soon arrived when prophesied King Arthur with his party arrived in the castle and requested a sparring competition between knights to choose strongest and wisest to enter Knights of the Round Table. I was determined to try my luck, but I knew that what was going to happen to me. And that's what happened. I was utterly humiliated and was played by a knight before being completely trashed by him. Laughing on weak knight was very usual and I was used to it. I was about to leave knighthood when two individuals approached me. They were King Arthur and Sir Einar. King Arthur was, as Gawain described, elegant and refined like a king, but Sir Einar was also kind. He immediately started casting healing spells when I was laughed at and mocked by everyone. Please. I am unworthy of your attention. I didn't even dare to look at them. Why is that? I think you are the most suitable person to enter the round table. What do you think, Arthur? I think so too. Knight is one who has an iron will regardless of what kind of strength you have. It was unbelievable to hear such praises for someone like me. At that moment, they both appeared like angels in my eyes sent by God to help me. I object. How can this weakling enter round table? It was the knight who bullied me most. His name was Rugal, the strongest knight among our peers. He was big and had incredible strength. Oh yeah? I believed Bedivere strongest here though. Sir Einar was still thinking that I should enter the round table. He was fuming with obvious lies, but didn't dare to raise his sword on Sir Einar. Sir Einar and King Arthur already showed their strength by defeating knights who wanted to question their strength. King Arthur showed such dignified swordplay and defeated every knight with his head high, while Sir Einar trashed anyone without even moving an inch. It is still unknown where those knights who challenged Sir Einar are. How about a bet? I will train Bedivere for 3 months and then I will hold a spar between you and him, and whoever wins will enter the round table. Then it's a deal and loser will lose his title as a knight. Then King Arthur also confirmed the bet as a witness, and I end up as the squire of Sir Einar without anyone asking my opinion. Sir Einar. Thank you. I was embarrassed to show this kind of expression and then being teased, but it never came. Instead, I heft a soft hand on my head. Don't worry. Whenever I make a commitment, I will make it come true. But I don't have mana like other knights. Doesn't really matter. Human will set foot on the moon without any kind of mana in future. He revealed his rumored prophecy. I was happy that there was someone who cares for me, but the next moment, that care became my most embarrassing moments. Then, what kind of training are we going to do? Push-ups, sit-ups, and plenty of juice. He said, then took out an unusual maid dress. But first put this on. But this is for woman. I was embarrassed to even put that short dress on. It would surely destroy a little bit of dignity still left in me. And your point is? Look, Mr. Bedivere, the first part of your training is to optimize your dominant skills. Why do you think I became this strong even after having such a charming face and handsome figure? He said and posed like a price. I was gonna call him a kid, but I remember knights who went missing after even talking about his height. Since it was useless to argue with the knight of the round table, so I just wore it. I was so embarrassed to wear such clothes, but he didn't mind and praised me for looking beautiful. I was about to tell him that I am still straight, but he stated that he loves a girl. It was hard to imagine him famous Sir Einar interested in girls, since every girl who approaches him ends up being punched with his secret move, begone thought. So it was believed that Sir Einar was gay since he was only closer with King Arthur and Sir Kay. Then you will be called Bibi-chan from now on. I will teach you how to act Momo. Eh? And for the whole month, I did nothing but act like a cute maid and become popular in the castle. My dignity as a man reduced to ashes. He only taught me weird stuff like how to draw something on an egg omelette with ketchup, how to act like a bunny girl in a casino, and how to charm others whether male or females with my charms. I soon understand that I was just being used for Sir Einar's weird kinks. It was even worse than being bullied by other knights. Sir Einar, it has been a month. When are you gonna teach me anything? I decided to confront him. It was a death way, but the man inside me was already dead, so I had nothing to lose. You are right. Then Bedivere, are you ready for my inhuman training? I am, Sir Einar. I nodded with determination. What comes after that was what made me the knight of the round table. Every day, I have to do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10 kilometers run. After this bone-breaking workout comes training with a sword. Sir Arthur himself helped me in that aspect. I didn't have any mana, so my only choice was to forge my sword skills and strike my opponent's critical points. It was that time my admiration for Sir Einar and King Arthur increased. Soon the day arrived, my battle with Rugal. PFF, look at that weakling, wearing girlish frock. Hey pretty lady, wanna have some good time with me after this match? Oi, are you gay? No, I am AB. He fulfills all my fetishes, Knights were mocking me since I was indeed wearing a beautiful frock in the duel. Rugal, Sir Kay, who was the referee, and even Sir Einar, who made me wear this, were also chuckling. Well, my pride as a man was already gone, so all those mocks went ahead of me and I was more focused to defeat Rugal. Match soon began. I immediately went offensive with incredible speed, shocking everyone. Rugal also didn't underestimate me and replied to my attacks with equal strength, but he was the man with rich experience and inhuman strength, so before I could deliver a finishing blow, he slashed his sword and blew me away. Ha ha ha, do you think just training for a few months will make you strong? Rugal was angry and was coming close to finish me slowly. Other knights were also mocking me, but I could see a confident smile on my mentor. I looked in the sky and saw a man on a flying horse leaving for heaven. It was my final dignity as a man. I spread my legs like a seductress and screamed like a girl. Kya! All individuals in the arena halted their moments. I put my hand on my lips and put a teary face with puppy eyes and asked, "Do you enjoy bullying me that much?" No. I am sorry. Wait, what is happening? Why my heart beating this fast? Rugal started to blush. How dare he bully our Bibi-chan? Yeah, Bibi-chan is our idol regardless of gender. He is a total dork. Asshole. Bullying Bibi-chan is heresy and punishment is death. All the spectators started booing him and towing things on Rugal, who was confused about what was happening. Dame Disu. I stood up and then started to explain. I closed my hands like prayer and closing my eyes, I spoke. Human is born unequal, so if you have the strength you should use this to protect the weak or someone precious to you. Ah, this light. Bibi-chan is an angel. Bibi-chan. 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 Spectators were cheering for only me and even forgot that this was supposed to be a duel. Please forgive me, Bibi-chan. I was wrong. I will open an orphanage and reflect on my actions for the rest of my life. Rugal fell on his knees. Please get up. You should serve King Arthur and this country as you have great strength. He nodded and admitted defeat. And so I was offered a chance to enter Knights of the Round Table. I was so relieved that I was out of humiliation for the rest of my life now that I am one of the most starting members of King Arthur's quest. After taking the oath, Sir Einar approached me and whispered something. There is still some training left, so how about we try some new made dresses that I made? Come follow me. Fuck my life. And so I yet again followed him. Third person's POV. Please don't ask what happened after that. It is just freaking embarrassing. Bedivere shook his head with rosy cheeks. All other knights felt something hot and took some distance from this charming knight before their dignity also leaves them. Third person's POV. My meeting with Sir Einar was a memorable part, and how come I admire for his persona is also related to not only to his strength but also his humor and rich knowledge that he possesses. Tristan smiled with sadness on his face and then started to tell his story. Tristan's POV. As a prince of rich land, I was led by a harmonious life despite being called the child of sadness because of my early death of my parents. My father died before he was able to see my face, and my mother died just after naming me. Even as a prince without parents, I was raised well by a lawyer who was a royal subject under my uncle King Mark, younger brother of my mother. Women, wealth, luck, and strength, all of those things were there for me by inheritance, but I was never a man to take anything for granted. I worked hard on the battlefield from an early stage and raised many achievements. My life was going well until I fell in love with a woman named Iseult. No, I was made to fall in love. It was a love made to be by means of an aphrodisiac, yet nevertheless, it was my first love of the child of sadness ever experienced, one worthy for me to devote my life for. The tragedy probably lied in the fact that Iseult was the woman who King Mark loved and vowed to marry. Before long, from the fear of committing a sin to betray King Mark and destroy the trust, I felt a need to leave the royal court. Hearing quite the praises of the wisest king who was on his journey to claim his mother country, I made my mind to serve such a king, more with the hope to suppress my feelings in the light such king's light. I was informed that the admiration ran by Knights of the Round Table. As natural pride of a noble knight, I also wanted to enter such a royal court and stand by the strongest knights who were following such a great king. But there was one hurdle that I needed to clear. Einar Sirius du Lac. I was informed that he was one of the most senior knights and also a mage with great skills. His strength was said to be on par with King Arthur, and magic that reinforced knight's strength to another level. Why did I say he was a hurdle? Because he was the one appointed to test extraordinary knights and enable them to enter Knights of the Round Table. Before meeting him, all the participants went through a series of tests. That included fencing, archery, and cavalry. I performed very well in all aspects and came out top. Now I was required to be interviewed by Sir Einar and King Arthur. Just when I was about to enter the camp where the interview was taking place, I heard some gossips from 2 other knights who were cursing Sir Einar for being rejected. Damn that shorty. Why the fuck he cares if a woman's breast is better or thighs? Just rejected to prefer breast. Hey man, I prefer thighs and butts though. Still, what the hell is mutta mutta or ora ora anyway? He asked me such silly questions. What else? He was so shameless even asking these questions in front of King Arthur, like if bunny girls are better or cat girls. Seriously, is he into bestiality? I fell silent upon hearing this. Suddenly the noises went silent and both knights were nowhere to be seen. I shrugged my shoulders and entered. Sir Einar was sitting with a boring look accompanied by a silver-haired maid and King Arthur who was reading some kind of book with a picture of a lion. Sir Einar also appeared to be sitting on someone. I was hoping that I was asked sincere questions, but the rumors went true. Tell me a joke related to flat breast. His question rendered me speechless. King Arthur also flinched and looked at Sir Einar with pique. Sir, talking about something like this is presumptuous. It is dash. Don't tell me what is right and what is wrong. God, why is it so hard to find a single good knight who could tell me jokes? Ah, forget it. You can get lost. Shoo shoo. And just like that, I was rejected. He was by no means an ordinary person that any knight could withstand against him with simple strength. It was not in my power to simply stand against him. Einar, you should consider him. Sir Tristan happens to be quite a good knight. It was King Arthur who spoke for me. Yes, Sir Einar, please give me another chance. I am not good at making a joke, but I have other qualities. I was also trying to take some chances. Like I have good luck, I am good with archery, and I am also good with poetry. Oh ho, looks a good challenge. How about a bet? If you win against me at any single time, you will win and enter the round table. I am honored to receive such recognition. And so the competition started. First was my archery test. I have to shot an apple on Sir Einar's head from 10 meters away before he crosses the finish line. I was reluctant due to Sir Einar's safety, but shockingly none of my arrows hit him. No, my all arrows missed the apple as he calmly walked out of the finish line. Missing my target never happened to me. The next challenge was testing luck, so we played some guessing games of dice, and the lesson I learned that one should not challenge Sir Einar if it happens to be based on luck. Next was poetry, and I was also defeated just like that. I was simply no match for such monstrous talent, but again King Arthur stand for me and put another one of his challenges. We have to ask a riddle against each other, and if I answered his, then I will win. However, no cursed word was allowed. The condition was in my favor, but even tossing again to some distance was still a challenge, like climbing a mountain in front of him. I was first to ask him a riddle. Tell me a verse: if told in dire time, then you will become happy, and if told in happy time, you will become sad. Everyone who heard the riddle fell in deep thought. First, it was related to poems, and second, it was a common fact of every knight's life. Sir Einar smiled, and his answer opened a new horizon in my heart. Time will fly away. A single verse, if recalled in dire times, will make your heart at ease, and if reminded in harmony's time, you are bound to realize that nothing lasts long. The people burst into cheers to answer my riddle in such a beautiful way. His answer was true, but the description backed by it was the result that my true feelings for respecting Sir Einar in such high regard were born. I was on my knees, and was going to admit defeat when I heard his riddle. Listen carefully. We have a body part in our body. Some people's parts are hard while some have soft. Adults are longer while children's are shorter. Some are furrier and some are not. What body part am I talking about? I was baffled hearing such a riddle. Everyone was embarrassed and immediately guessed the answer, recalling what kind of person Sir Einar is. Cursed words were not allowed, so Sir Einar deliberately asked such a riddle. But there was something else in my mind, since from reading the expression on Sir Einar's face, he had something else in his mind. The answer is our arms. The furry part was referred to our armpits. Everyone went silent before cheering me for the mind-blowing answer. Sir Einar also approved this answer and recognized me as a new knight of the Round Table. By the way, I was still going to call you back, but it was refreshing to compete like this, right? Sir Einar came and told me this. Indeed, Sir Einar. It is my first time where I enjoyed it like this. I came to admire you for your strength outside of combat. Please guide me for the future. I recalled my heart lightened from all my previous guilt. I also understood that he did that just to take me on right track without grieving for the past continuously. By the way, here is the joke. What did the toaster say to the slice of bread? I want you inside me. PFFF, ha ha ha. He then told me a dirty joke without any choice but to laugh with him. Third person's POV. That's why I admire Sir Einar like this. He understands people's hearts and knows how to cheer them. He also gives me the book called JoJo Reference Volume 2, but I am still unworthy to understand such ancient scriptures. Tristan praised Einar just like a poet praises another poet, but he was still sad. Not because he was not able to love Isolde, but he didn't catch a single fish. Luck rank E. Third person's POV. I guess it is my turn now. My meeting with my little brother and then followed by King Arthur was not very harmonious either. The fact that a knight appeared outside of this island and then wishes to serve the king who was uniting this island and fighting against foreigners raised many questions. It started with me hearing about King Arthur. Lancelot stated and explained his part of the story. Lancelot's POV. I was originally born as a prince in France, but due to a tragedy, I lost my parents from a young age. And then I was adopted by a fairy called Nimue, or better known as the Lady of the Lake. I was nurtured by her till I was 15 years old and then left after becoming strong enough to use a holy sword called Arondite. Though I was strong enough to gather an army and take back the place that my parents ruled, I didn't have any wish to rule a country and spill useless bloodshed. I was famous with women, so I didn't trigger any problem finding a beautiful silver-haired woman and marry her at a young age. It was then my son Galahad was born. However, due to constant skirmishes in France, it was hard for me to find a good house to serve as a knight or form a mercenary group. I was away when my wife fell ill and died in my absence. My son, who considered me his ideal, blamed me for her death and began hating me. It was then I heard rumors of the King of Britain. I believed the King of Knights in Britain was pure nonsense. I began to compare myself with the King of Knights until I decided to travel to Britain to see the legendary king with my own eyes. I met the king as soon as I landed in Britain in the midst of battle. It carved a deep impression of the king in my heart when I saw the sight of a young boy riding on his horse, gallantly swinging his sword in a horde of invaders. It proved how wrong I was. The requirement to battle day and night was not physical attributes, but it was one who holds unwavering convictions. I also witnessed another person beside him. He was a short blonde-haired boy with angelic looks and was acting like a mage and fighter at the same time. I was awed until I heard his full name, Einar Sirius Dulac, same last name as me. His holy spear was unlike any weapon I have ever seen. A single spear, yet so many forms and so powerful that Arondite doesn't even hold a candle against that spear. I was still reluctant to acknowledge him as my brother since we were both carrying the same last name our foster mother given to us. And so, just like other knights who underestimated Einar at first sight, I also challenged him in a fight one day. It was my meeting with Einar after dealing with invaders. So you are also a child of Fairy of the Lake? It means that you and my friend Einar are brothers. I was walking with King Arthur, who was smiling brightly when he was talking about his friend. Ah yes, I also heard. I am not sure about how do I feel since it has been a while since I met the mother. I smiled awkwardly. When I landed on this island, my mother sent me a letter and boasted a lot about this child called Einar. He was young but very strong. His strength was said to be on par, if not stronger than King Arthur. I was a little jealous of him since he was already at that level at such a young stage while I didn't have any feet on my name. Father, it is rude to talk like this way. Galahad scoffed out. Einar was his new ideal, and it was also another reason. As soon as he heard that Sir Einar was recruiting young knights, he was the first one to submit the request. The reason he was with me also the same. I had to introduce my son to Einar and ask to take Galahad under his wings. However, my pride was still reluctant to acknowledge him as a brother. I have to show my skills in front of my son that I was still a knight with greater strength than Einar. It's okay. My friend is easygoing as long as you don't comment on his height. Please refrain from mocking his height. King Arthur requested. Even he seemed afraid of Einar when it comes to height. Naturally, my king, Galahad, answered in my instead and looked at me coldly to nod my head. I had no choice but to abide by him. When we entered the training camp, we heard a scream and saw a child beating a black-haired knight with a long wooden halberd that he called a baseball bat with spikes on it. Oh God, I can't feel my legs. Please show us mercy. The knight pleaded by Einar didn't listen and continued to beat him. Phew, why Lady Morgan's eldest children are always acting like assholes. Einar then looked at the sun with a bright smile and wiped the blood from his face. The scene looked beautiful yet so horrified that Galahad hid behind me. Einar, what are you doing to Sir Agravain? King Arthur questioned Einar after examining the said person was alive or not. Don't worry Arthur, it is called character development. I am beating the shit out of him to make him strong. I guarantee that his bones will be that of steel when he will recover. What am I gonna do with you? Anyway, Einar, meet Sir Lancelot and his son Galahad. King Arthur introduced us. We both greeted Einar respectfully despite trembling from witnessing previous horror, and Einar did the same. He talked with us and immediately befriended us. He had a little dirty tongue for a child of his age and very casual even talking with King Arthur, but he was still respectful and didn't try to test our strength when King Arthur suggested me enter Knights of the Round Table after acknowledging my achievements and strength. We also agreed to call each other brother since our foster mother is the same, and if the mother sensed the air that we are still acting like strangers, then we both knew the consequences. Einar also became best friend with Galahad and took him as his apprentice. I never expected to do things so smoothly, but I still wanted to challenge him and prove my strength. Brother, I wish to challenge you so that you can acknowledge my strength. I requested with a bow. It's fine. I know mother has raised a strong child, so don't worry. I still want a match. Please consider my selfish request. I was still persistent. Hey, is your father a masochist? Einar asked to Galahad. I think so. I once saw a whip in their room and also used to hear his screams at night. That's why I don't like him. He also I immediately covered Galahad's mouth before he could reveal more and destroy my reputation as a strong knight and big brother if not as a father. Well, you got your match. Just hurry up. In the end, he agreed. We then prepared and entered the area for the spar. Using manga-based attack was banned since it could destroy the settlement, so we both agreed. It was then he took out that shiny spear from his book that he called Book of Chastiefol. I also grasped my sword firmly ready to face who is the strongest father and big brother. Just as the match started, I took my first step when he cast a single spell, slip, when my face slammed the earth. Arg! I didn't know what happened before I saw him pointer his spear at my neck. You lose, brother. And just like that, I lost in seconds. I was still shocked when I saw him walking away. Wait, what happened with fighting like a knight, the pride and its honor? Dude, it doesn't matter in the actual fight. Stop living in the 5th century. He didn't listen to me. Then what about punishment the winner gives to a loser? Punishment? Yes, punishment. Didn't mother teach you to get punished if you lose a bet? No, mother only taught me how to punish someone who I consider annoying. And now stop pestering me. But it is unfair. Fuck off, you horny face masochist. He didn't hear anything more and ran away with my son. Third person's POV. And that's how my meeting ended. I still feel a little sad that I didn't receive the required punishment that I was supposed to receive. Knight of the Lake shook his head. All other knights were lost on words. Seriously, what is wrong with children raised by the Lady of the Lake? One is a demon sadist and the other is a generous masochist. Oh hey guys, are you talking about my beloved disciple? Then all of them heard a voice and saw Merlin on a near tree. Merlin, what are you doing here? Just watching some poor souls talking ill about my disciple in his presence. In his presence? Trembling and sweating shitless, they turned around and saw Einar also catching fishes with them at a certain distance and wearing a cold and evil smile. Hi. Take the fishes you caught and come with me. Einar didn't say much and ordered them to follow. They naturally had to do it, but they didn't know where they were going. But where are we going? I will tell you where we are not. Safe. And so Knights of the Round Table faced a hellish day after a relaxing day. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kayashin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Ben Phillips. If you liked the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll stay here until next time.